And the newest news, fresh off the press, Trevor Noah just replaced Jon Stewart. How do we feel about that?
I love the idea that an African man is a host and the face of the media. Honestly, because when we would think about it, well, at least when I would look at like old movies, I would look at even recent movies, commercials, you would see a lot of white faces, a lot of white women, a lot of white men, and you don't really see colored people in like high places as far as in your face, giving you the news, giving you the facts, and making you laugh on top of that.
The newest news, fresh off the press, Trevor Noah replaced Jon Stewart. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel like it's a good opportunity because he is African American, and I think it's wonderful to see more brown people on television, and I think it's good for children, and I think it brings in a whole new audience. And maybe this is like a sign that we're progressing even more to maybe there just white people would be the minority on television, and black people would be the majority. So I do think that it's a good move. It's a step in the right direction.
News, great news. I don't know how you're going to take it, but Jon Stewart, they found a replacement for him. Have you heard about this?
I haven't. Who is it?
Okay, so it's actually a South African fellow named Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah is a 31-year-old South African comedian, very unknown to the American community, but you know, like he's not well known in America, but you know, he's taken over for him. What do you feel about that? Do you think that's important that he's from South Africa, or not really that important?
I mean, it's really interesting that he's from South Africa. I've never heard of him. But it might be new to the U.S. He's African. He's African, right? South African. Okay, is he white or black?
So I think it's a great advancement for society, being that, you know, black oppression and all that, and everything that's happened in recent news in the past, and I feel like I have confidence that it's going to get better.
I think that would be really cool to bring diversity onto the television set. We need more of that. Okay, so now, not only is he African, he's South African. So, you know, that's not just a regular African American. He's actually from Africa, you know. So, do you think that that's any more significant than him just being like a regular African American male from Queens, New York?
Then again, it's bringing in not just African American people. There are people who came here from Africa, so maybe they would be able to connect to him more, and it's a good opportunity for him.
Okay. Okay. Now, I don't know if you know, but Stephen Colbert was actually replaced as well by Larry Wilmore, another comedian. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't. Okay,
so now we have two black men hosting a late night show. Do you feel like that's done by design, or do you think that this was just coincidence that we had two funny black men to host to replace these two guys who have been doing it?
Well, I would love to think that that it would just be coincidence, but I think now society is really trying to be like, everyone's equal. Don't look at people just because they're a different shade, and like just trying to push that this is a regular face that you can see every day. This is a regular face that makes you laugh. This is a good relation. That's good. A good relation towards when you see a black face, you don't get scared. You don't feel like they're an untouchable. It's like they're funny. They're hilarious. I think it's great.
So Trevor Noah, again, from South Africa, but he's also 31. I think he's the youngest late night host. I think. I have to check my facts.
Like middle-aged, right?
Yeah, I think he's the youngest. I think the youngest prior to him was like 30, 34 when they started. But he's 31. Yeah, I think Conan was the youngest. Either Conan or Jimmy Fallon. I don't remember. No.
Jimmy Kimmel's like 50.
Now, yeah. But I think Jimmy Fallon, when he took over, I think he was the youngest. I'm not 100% sure. But, you know, you got guys like, you know, you got this guy, he's 31, black. Do you think that he brings in a new demographic as opposed to Stephen Colbert or as opposed to Jon Stewart? You know, do you think he brings in a new level of viewership?
So age-wise, I think he will. Culturally, he will. Racially, definitely. I think it's a good look overall. I mean, people said before that when are we going to have a black president? And no one ever thought it was going to happen. And then one year, it just happened. So.
Okay, so now I like that you brought that up because that was going to be my next question. So you see, when Obama went in office, everyone said, okay, for young black men, young Hispanic men, that actually opened up the doors for anything is possible, you know what I mean? Because, your whole life you hear anything's possible, but now we actually see that we have a black president. And now we actually see that we have a black man, two, not just one, because Larry Wilmore's also, he also replaced Stephen Colbert. So we have two black men hosting late night talk shows. And not late night talk shows like Arsenio Hall had his own show, but took over a franchise, because these shows are essentially
covered by a specific.
Correct. These shows were specific. These shows were actually a franchise. So now these franchises are hosted by black men. Do you think that opens up more talk for anything is possible?
Maybe after he's done hosting, maybe we could get finally a female host. Kind of like the presidential thing, there's talks of possibly a female president now, when that wasn't in talks of 10 years ago at all.
I think he's actually the youngest host to host the late night series. I think he's the youngest host to take over one of these shows. I think Jimmy Fallon, prior to that, was the youngest host at 30. I think he took it over at 34. I think he was the youngest host prior to take over a late night show. So do you think that that's important? Do you think that that's going to bring more more viewings from the younger society, or do you think it's just whatever? If he's funny, he's funny.
Well, I think it does give young viewers, I could be 30, I could be even younger, and I can do that, and then work that much harder, that much sooner, and that's a great motivator. But also, I think they also older people, he's so young, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
He don't know what he's doing out there.
He doesn't know what's really going on. He does. You have to give people the benefit of the doubt, no matter how young they are, is depending on how much work they put in to get to the position that they're in.
Like I said, we have two black male hosts. The thing about Trevor Noah is he's only 31 years old. He's not really known in America as much as, let's say, Larry Wilmore. But we know that Larry Wilmore has put his time in. A lot of people might not know that, but he's been a writer on a lot of shows, stand-up comedian, and now he's hosting that position. He's hosting that role, and we know that he's worked his way up. But a guy like Trevor Noah, he's very unknown to the American audience. Do you think that his age is going to be significant, or do you think that the fact that he's unknown might hurt more than help the situation of him being on TV? Or do you think it'll bring in a new younger audience?
I do believe he'll bring in a younger audience, but I also believe that people will tune in just to see what he'll be, what it's like.
Okay.
To see what he'll bring to the table.
Okay, so
is he going to be as funny, or can he do the job right? You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, okay. So you think the curiosity is going to get viewers first and foremost? Okay, excellent. Okay. Now, when President Obama came in office, it gave everyone that view that, wow, anything can be done. Do you think that this is just as significant to see, not Larry Wilmore, because Larry Wilmore, a lot of people don't know, Larry Wilmore has been in the game for a long time. He's been writing forever. He's a comedian, and for him to get in this position, like a lot of people who don't know who he is, they kind of felt like, what is this guy doing? Whereas, people who understand know that he's put the work in. He's been doing this for a long time. Now, as far as Trevor Noah, he's fairly unknown over in the United States. So do you think that it gives young people that same encouragement that Obama gave when he came in office? Do you think it gives the same do you think it has the same impact? Not just that he's a black guy, but this guy's not even an American.
Yeah.
And now he's the host of, again, I want to reiterate, the host of a late night series. Do you think that that's as important or as impactful as President Obama coming into office?
Definitely.
Okay, now, I don't know if you're aware of the way the late night setup is. So late night, as of now, is predominantly male hosts. There's not any female hosts. on any late night show, and the daytime has been dominated by female. Do you think that's done by design, or do you think that that's something that needs to be fixed? Do you think that's something that needs to be corrected immediately?
Of course, because I'm a woman. I do feel that's something that needs to be fixed. I don't feel like the world is ready for a woman yet. I would love it. I would watch myself, and I think it would definitely bring in a new demographic. But they would have to. I don't think people are ready.
Okay. So what I want to know is, do you think that the community, the late night community, is predominantly dominated by males? Do you think that's by design, or?
I didn't even think of that. And me being a female, I should think of that. I mean, I feel like most comedians are males.
Okay.
There's only a few, like a handful of females that I could actually kind of pinpoint by face, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's societal things where males are supposed to be comedians, and females just don't step up to the plate, but I didn't think of that.
Do you think that that's something that, you know, it's systematic? Do you think it's like, okay, late night show is dominated by men for a particular reason, or is it just that they just haven't found a way to integrate that into everyday society?
I do believe it's for a particular reason. I don't think that people, specifically males, feel like a woman can play that role. Like they can be as funny, they can be as raw, because we're more seen as delicate, where a male is rough, and they can go that extra mile, and they can be that raw, while we have to be more reserved and conservative by the way we present ourselves.
Late night's been predominantly dominated by men. There hasn't been a late night female host. Do you think that that's done by design, or do you think that that's an issue that we need to address at some point?
I don't think it's on purpose, but I think it is something that late night you have to keep people entertained. You have to be that much more funny. You have to be that much more engaging. And some females, if not most females, don't have that quality of like being so hilarious, so funny. And I'm a female. I'm pretty hilarious. Can I do a late night show? Probably not. So like, you know, I understand where it would be more fitting for a man that's hilarious, that can do this and can be engaging. And some jokes that they say comes out, this is weird, comes out better out of a man's mouth than a woman's. Like if a woman would say the same joke, for some reason, for some odd reason, I don't know if it's society-based or whatever, or conditioned, it's not as funny. It's not as funny when she says it.
Again, this is a woman saying it.
Yeah,
I'm not saying this. Okay, so now, perfect example.
Silverman, she should be the new host.
Oh, okay. So what I want to know is, okay, Sarah Silverman, Wanda Sykes, you have these type of comedians, you know, now you have these type of comedians who are just as raunchy, just as raw, just as, you know,
They don't get the opportunity.
yeah, you have these. Do you think that society is ready to have a female host a late night show, or do you think that by design, female host the day show, or, you know, morning shows, afternoon shows like Oprah Winfrey, Queen Latifah? Do you think that that's by design, or do you think that that's also like just so happens to be that way?
Good point. I think that we're kind of constrained into like these positions of like, oh, the housewife that sits down and watches like what's that show, The View, and we're just gonna sit around a table and gossip. Like, it should be more witty, and we should talk about more issues that like female comedians would talk about, like real life female things. And I mean, The View, I guess they do that, but it's more just like, it's gossip to me, and it's not really fulfilling.
Okay. So now another thing. Let's jump back to Trevor Noah. So but now you have comedians like Wanda Sykes. I don't know. You know, I asked someone else and they said the same thing. I love her. She's so funny. But you have someone like Wanda Sykes who has the ability to be as gritty, as raunchy, and as comedically on point as, you know, a Jimmy Fallon. Do you think that someone like her could carry a late night show? Or do you still think that even though she's funny and she can sell out an arena, you know, and she can, you know, get men to watch her in a series, do you think that she's funny enough to carry a whole late night slot? Like, do you think that she could have been that replacement?
If I'm not mistaken, I swear she had a late night show like, but it was on like basic cable. Like,
It wasn't.
I feel like it was like on basic that it didn't really get enough views because it wasn't really advertised as much.
Yeah.
Because I swear it came on.
She had the Wanda Sykes show, but I mean, like, do you think that she would be able to? Because you know these late night shows are like franchise, you know.
Right.
So and so was replaced by so and so, who was replaced by so and so. You know, it's like always a comedian replacing another comedian. You know, and the trend just keeps going. But do you think that franchise can be broken and have a female host? Like, could a female host have hosted the Stephen Colbert Report? You know, the Colbert Report, which is a fairly new series. You know, or could Jon Stewart's replacement have been a female? The men.
They're not ready for it.
They're
not ready for that rawness. Like, that's good in a stand-up comedy scene, but in something serious like that, I would love it because I love Wanda Sykes. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
I like that she's raunchy, but I don't think
society's not ready yet.
They're not.
Okay. So now what I want to know is, we just spoke about a female host, the possibility of a female host. Do you think that a female host, do you think that society is ready for that at this point? I mean, we have a black president, we have 2 black men. Do you think that, I mean, yeah, it's not the same as having a female president, but do you think that something like that is, are we prepared as a society to have a black, or not even just a black female host, a female host in general? Do you think we're ready for that as a late night host to take over a franchise? Because, starting up her own show might be different than her taking over the late night or taking over the Tonight Show. Do you think that that's something that as a society we're ready for?
Why not? What's holding it back? Like, what's the issue for a female host being a night, talk show host? I feel like people just completely put too much weight on it, and this is why we're being held back as females.
The female host, you said that men are better at delivering jokes. Do you think that it's better? Do you think that it's that men are better at delivering jokes, or do you think it's social programming that we're programmed to understand this joke coming from a man as opposed to a woman? Because I don't know if you know Wanda Sykes, black comedian.
Yes, that she
pretty
has short
gritty,
hair.
yeah, short little afro. She's a really funny woman. Now, Wanda Sykes has done a lot of things in way of comedy. She's probably one of the most well-known female comedians at this moment right now, But what I want to know is, do you think that it's that, because she's pretty raunchy. She can say some pretty, outlandish things. Do you think that we're socially programmed to understand that a man saying this is funny as opposed to a woman saying it?
I definitely feel like it's socially programmed, and it's something that has to change. Like, a female is saying that a female is not that funny when it shouldn't be that way. Everyone, just a person, should be funny depending on their material, depending on what jokes they make and how they make it and how they deliver it and how much it relates to the human, attribute and how it goes to that.
Okay.
Because we're still pushing for this. We're still
equality. Okay. So now, being that we're pushing for equality, do you think that the next step would be a female host? Because now we have not only black male hosts, we have 2 hosting a late night series. So that's the first step into integration. Into the steps of integration, do you think that the next step would be a female host, and do you think that that's something that needs to happen as soon as possible to keep the momentum going of equality in media?
Of course, you have to keep up with change.
Okay, but do you think that that's something that should happen like right away, or do you think we need to let this settle in a little bit?
We don't need to let it settle. We're here already.
Let it happen.
Let it happen.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay, and last and final question. Now, now also, do you think that as a society, do you think that, the talk should have already happened?
Yeah.
Even though we just now, keep in mind, we just now got 2 black hosts. So do you think that talk should have been happened, or it's time to open that gate?
It's really sad that this is actually a topic in today's world. It's 2015. It's really sad that we have to open multiple doors for other people. It has to be the white man first, and then it has to be the black man, and then it has to, females are at the bottom. Yeah. It's it's a depressing notion, but that's how it is.
All right, so we're pretty sure that you're going to be tuning in to see Travis Noah, right?
Sure will now, yeah.
All right, got to look him up, right? All right, Marcus Devin signing off. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
Okay. Now, another thing about social programming, do you think that with the way that we're socially programmed, do you think that men are not accepting of a female? Like, do you think that as a man, you're not a man, but do you think that as a man, I would be able to say, you know what, I'm going to watch the late night show with Betty Jones? Or do you think that mentally we're not prepared to have a female hosting a late night series? Do you think that it's because, you know, a man can appeal to females and women depending on his material, but do you think that a woman can do the same?
I think it would be way more difficult for a woman to appeal to a man, because it makes, like, even guys taking female professors, I know a whole bunch of a lot of males that do not take classes with female professors because they just don't like the way that they teach, and they round it off to everyone.